Hello, beautiful people. Welcome. If this is your first time here, welcome back. If you are a returning supporter, I'm here to give you the disclaimers for this here live. Listen, I do not tolerate disrespect. That's in any way, shape, form, or fashion, whether it's towards me, towards anyone that appears on the screen, towards anyone that appears in the chat. If you have not decided to be a better person, most people will tell you to leave, but I'm going to tell you to stick around because maybe something that is said today will encourage you to do so. Now, I am not a mental health professional. I am just one woman willing to share my personal experiences to let you know two things. One, you are not alone, regardless of how much you feel like you are alone, how many times you have felt that, you are not alone. And number two, you can overcome anything that life throws at you. There will be curse words, there will possibly be tears, but knowing me, it probably will be. And my opinions are my opinions. Your opinions are your opinions. We are here to have a nurturing conversations in regards to our opinions so that we will have a better understanding of each other. That's all I got for right now. I hope that you enjoy this nurturing conversation. Let's get to it. Wait. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button that helps me say suggested on YouTube. Make sure that you type in the chat, also leave a comment, and share it with your friends. That's all I got. Let's get into this conversation. I love you. Peace. hear anything that I said. So I'm going to repeat it really fast. I hope that you all can hear me now. Thank you, Mr. Fire Records, for coming in. Talking. See, that's I got to get some post-its because usually I will have a post-it on my screen right here to say check and make sure that it's switched because I go between my Scarlett. I just got a Rodecaster Pro. Well, I didn't just get it. I got a Rodecaster Pro for Christmas. I wanted it to do the podcast so I can have sounds and everything. So let me start over. Let me start over. Hi, my name is Chelle, also known as Shelle's Closet, also known as Midwest Hummingbird. I'm a lot of things to a lot of people, and I want to welcome you to the Nurturing Conversations podcast. We are a creative space where we support and nurture. We explore meaningful topics together, whether it is for inspiration, advice, or just a thoughtful conversation. You're definitely in the right place. We are here for you. Feel free to share your thoughts, stories, questions throughout the episode. Your voice is important, and all of your thoughts, everything is welcome. We encourage you to interact with us and build, whether it's here on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, TikTok, wherever you're watching this. Gentle reminder, this is a safe space for everyone. Respect, kindness, and understanding are the cornerstones of our discussions. We are here to support each other, and let's keep our conversations nurturing and positive. Thank you so very much for letting me know you can hear. So, as I was saying, we are surviving a global pandemic, right? And so I've been taking into consideration that, okay, before this pandemic, I was really afraid. I'm a totally transparent person. I don't care about being vulnerable. If I cry, it's not because I'm sad or anything like that. It's because I'm actually happy to be in the place that I am in. So, I had hopes, dreams, and aspirations before 2020, and like everyone, when the pandemic hit, I wasn't really sure on how I was going to accomplish those things. And so I began to getting a little down. I was a little down because I was like, oh, I wanted to score a documentary. I wanted to do a concert series. I had all these different things that I was so excited about doing. And then the pandemic hit. And then I just found myself in a place of a journey of healing and self discovery. And I began to ask myself, what am I willing to give up or what am I willing to sacrifice so that my dreams can come to fruition? And so today I thought I'll just ask a question. What is the price? What is the price you're willing to pay to be happy, to be successful, to be healthy, to be loved, to see your dreams come true? What is the price you're willing to pay? What are you willing to sacrifice? Um, I just read the definition. Sacrifice involves giving up something valuable or important to achieve a greater goal or benefit. In the context of dreams, it means letting go of your immediate comforts. That right there was a thing that stuck with me. It's like, I have to get out of my comfort zone. I have to. How do you get out of your comfort zone? Do the very thing that terrifies you. That's what I did. That worked for me. The very thing that terrified me was like, I need to do it. And I kid you not, the very thing that terrified me has brought me the greatest joy ever. The greatest. Did y'all see the smile? I'm telling you, every time I think about it, I become so overwhelmed with joy, and my heart literally leaps every time I think about it. I thought, because I was one, like, I didn't want to be a teacher. I come from a long list of teachers going up into the side, tenured professors, Sunday school teachers, Bible class teachers, like all kinds of teachers. And I was like, I am not going to be a teacher. I want to be a songwriter. That's all I wanted to be. I just wanted to be a songwriter, write songs, and that was it. That was it. And of course, I wanted to work on the corporate side, but then, when you start navigating things and you be like, no, I just want to be a songwriter. Unfortunately, my life was not set up just to be a songwriter. My life was set up for me to be a teacher. And I envisioned being a teacher at a school or institution when in reality it's just sharing the knowledge of the music industry. That's my gifting. So that's where I work at. So I began to think about the things that I sacrifice. Like I sacrificed hanging out. I went to school, got a degree. If any of you have ever been to college, you know that it is not easy. And my uncle, God bless the day, he said something to me that made me totally put it in perspective, right? He said, anybody that goes to college and get a degree, he said, you show that you can take on an insurmountable amount of bullshit. You know how to recognize bullshit. You know how to look through bullshit. He said you are able to navigate different areas in which most people aren't. And when he said that, I was like, okay, I'm just in school to study music administration. But as I got older and as I got as I grew in while going to school and actually got older and got ready to walk across the stage, it completely dawned on me what he was saying. You can't go to school for 4 years and don't like. I'll tell y'all a little about my college experience. I um went to college up north. I live in Wisconsin. I went to college up north in a predominantly white institution. Now, um, hmm, I'm trying to figure out how I could say this where y'all could pick it up what I'm putting down. I'm from the inner city. I went to a predominantly white institution in a predominantly white town. And there was just about 20, 25. I think I'm adding more people there, but um, students of color, meaning that there was African American, there was Hispanic, or there's diversity because there was LGBTQ. It was a lot of us there, but it was only 20 of us, and they put us in one building. So when I went to college, there was the people that wore the hoods, there was the people that wore the red suspenders with the bald head. It was a lot of them, and they like it was their town. We was just going to go to college. That's all we wanted to do was go to college, learn, get an education. But I dealt with a lot of racism. I dealt with a lot of cultural shock. I dealt with a lot of things that I didn't even know that I was strong enough to deal with. Whoa, sorry y'all. I'm a processor as I go. I don't even know how to say that, but I'm someone who's processing. I process in real time. So, um hmm. Yeah, so I went through a lot. I became the first African American to perform a singing recital, the first African American to graduate with a music degree. And when I say first, I mean the first one. Like, I had to go against a 72-year history of the school in order for me to do gospel music. I did gospel, not just gospel, gospel, R&B. I think I probably did some hip hop. Like I was fighting. They were like, no, 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 no. That is not music. No. When I tell you I heard so many no's, so that's part of what my uncle was saying. Like you hear no a lot. You got to get comfortable with hearing no. I was comfortable with hearing no. And then I was just like, oh no, you're going to change your mind. And let me figure out how I can get you to change your mind. I understood that education is important. So what I did was I showed them I wasn't trying to do the whole senior recital as gospel, urban, anything like that. I just wanted to do the first part classical because I had to learn arias and all of the things like that. And then I wanted to do the second part. I wanted to show who I am and what I do. And so I fought hard. I fought so hard that up until the last second, right before my senior recital was supposed to start. Like it was like 2 days before, maybe 2 days, maybe two. When I tell y'all it was like close. They were like, sure, let her do it. And I was so excited. So I was like, hey, I had background singers, I had musicians, I had all kinds of stuff. And it actually was a super dope senior recital, not just because it was my senior recital and I made history, but because it was a super dope senior recital. And so then when I got ready to walk across the stage, I didn't like all of this. I've accomplished it, but I never like celebrated or actually talked about it since I did it. That is so weird. Um that is so weird. That is so weird that I didn't celebrate that. You would think that somebody would celebrate that, but I didn't. I just kind of moved on with life. So I graduated and I was like anybody who goes to college and was like, what the hell am I going to do with a music administration degree? What is I got a whole degree. I don't even understand what it is. And then I began to deep dive. Like I hopped down a rabbit hole of the music industry and understanding why some of my favorite music artists were dying broke or they needed assistance and they had the number one selling songs and I couldn't, my brain would not let me comprehend that. So I deep dived in the music industry and I was like, oh, this is why. They don't tell you how you actually make money. They show you like tours and radio and like now it's streaming. They show you that and you like, oh yeah, I gotta do this to make money. But the money is actually in the intellectual property. The money is actually in making sure that you have all of your stuff registered in these different websites. So then I just totally sacrificed everything. I sacrificed hanging out with friends. I sacrificed relationships. I sacrificed a lot to ensure that I could understand everything there is to know where I can help music artists and be like, hey, before you put that album out, before you put that single out, make sure you got it here, 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 and here. Make sure you got split sheets. Make sure you understand contracts. Make sure you have a full foundational knowledge of what you're getting yourself into. That's like even with a relationship. You probably think like, oh, we cool, they cool. You know, we had dinner, we watched a movie that was pretty cool, and they invite you over. You know, like when people invite you over their house, they like clean up because they don't want you to see how they be living. And then after a little while, you know, they start leaving stuff because it's like, oh, you done been over here a couple of times. You ever go to somebody's house and the first time they so nice and sweet, they get you coffee or tea or some snacks, or they make your plate. And then the second time, usually it should be like, I think like the third time, but by the second time, they're like, girl, or bro, you been over here before. Go ahead and fix your own. Now you in the kitchen making your own stuff. It'd be like that. But I realized that I sacrificed a lot. Like I was previously in a relationship and I realized that I dimmed myself so. I dimmed myself so. I wasn't doing music. I stopped going to concerts. Anything music related, I wasn't doing it. I was just existing. I was doing YouTube, of course, but I was just existing. And it wasn't until the pandemic that I realized like I had a tendency of like seeing people around me and like, you know, feeling the energy and it's like, well, I don't want to like you ever had somebody tell you you think you better. And that always would make me feel some kind of way. It wasn't like a, ooh, yeah, but it would make me feel some kind of way. And I'm like, well, I don't want you to feel like you're not doing anything. So I don't want to have all these hopes, dreams, and aspirations and be striving and be doing all these things. And then you're over here and you're not really doing anything. And so I sacrifice my love, my light, my passion, and I literally walked away from music, like literally. And it wasn't until 2020 that I realized that I have done that because I didn't even realize it. I was still doing voice notes and still writing songs and poems and all of that stuff, but I wasn't doing it like publicly. I would do it like behind closed doors. If the moment hit me, then yeah. And so then as I began a journey of healing and self discovery, I realized like, oh my God, I spent so much time caring about everyone else and how they felt and what they thought and how they're going to feel that I forgot my own like thoughts and feelings and what I wanted to do. Like that for me caused me such heartache. It caused me such heartache because I was just like, oh my God. You know how, like, when so much time passed, you'd be like, man, I would have been so far advanced and you got all these different things. But then I really thought to myself and I was like, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I gave so much of myself, so much of my time, my energy, my love, everything to everybody else. And life, the entire time, the entire time I was doing all of that, life was trying to tell me, you need to focus on you. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna focus on me. Let me just get them out the way. And then it's like somebody will call you to say, hey, could you run me to the gas station? Hey, could you run me to the grocery store? Hey, since you're already out, you might as well run me over here. And by the time, you get done running everybody else, it's like you go home, you're tired, you're going to sleep. And you got a list of things that you were supposed to do, but you couldn't do because you were out here, putting everybody before yourself. So I began to think about all the things that I sacrificed from time. I sacrificed a lot of time. I sacrificed a lot of time, a lot of energy. And I said to myself, what am I willing to give up? What am I willing to do to ensure that throughout this pandemic that my dreams come to fruition? And I said, I'm just going to put my head down. I'm going to work on myself. And whenever something comes up, I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to act like it doesn't exist. I'm going to sit in it. I'm going to sit in it because I'm like, I'm 2020, I turned 40. I'm like, I am 40 years old and I'm not carrying no more baggage. Nothing. No, none of my childhood, young adulthood, none of that. I'm not carrying anything else with me in my 40s. It's gotta end. I gotta stop tossing it in the back of my mind. One day I'll get to it. I gotta deal with it. So as things came up, I began to deal with them. I began to understand that I had a fear of success, not because that I couldn't do it, but I feared what it would mean for the people around me. I feared success. I literally feared. I understood why I procrastinated. I understood why I procrastinated. And it wasn't because I couldn't do it. I just procrastinated because I had gotten into the habit of procrastination. I got into the habit of waiting to the last minute because there's like an adrenaline rush. Like, oh, I know. And then one time I waited to the last minute and I hit the button. Like, you hit submit and then like um the computer just like shut itself down. So I wasn't really sure if it actually submitted or not. And I said, that's the last time I'm going to wait. But then in the process of the journey of healing and self discovery, I understood that I procrastinated because I was, again, afraid. I was afraid of submitting it and it would be successful and it would be, because I know like anything that I think of is going to be successful. That's just how it is. Anything that I think of, anything that you think of, if it comes to you, if you can feel it in your entire body, it's going to be successful. You just have to get out of your own way and do it. And I'm saying this because in 2019, I had an idea to start concert series. I wanted to take independent music artists and pair them with a live band and give them the outlook of their music on festival stages or give them the outlook of what it's like to interact with a band and how the improvisational of it all. Y'all know the word I'm trying to say. What it means to improvise with a band and how to like imagine your music being greater. So that was my vision in 2019. So 2019, I was season 1. And then of course the pandemic and I was just like, oh, what is going to happen now? Like I had a great first season and what's going to happen now? And then I was internally just going like, man, I had a great first season. Now, how do I bring it back? How do I get sponsors? Like all of these different things is going on in my head. And then it was me. It was me stopping me from being great. I was over here processing like, man, but what if people don't want to come back? Or what if people don't get the idea of what I'm doing? Or like, what if, all these what ifs. And I had to say to myself, I had a successful first season. Artists came, I got a sponsor for Backline. Like I had a successful first season, but like I told y'all when I graduated school, like I never processed or celebrated any of the major things that I did in my life. I just kept moving. I kept moving. And then on the journey of healing and self-discovery, it hit me like I have never celebrated. I've never celebrated anything that I have done. And part of that was because I didn't want people around me to feel bad because they hadn't done. And then when you get older and you realize people become so complacent with mediocrity that they just don't strive for better. They could, but they just don't because they're so comfortable. Like everybody is doing the same thing. So let me be a part of that. That's not how I wanted to live my life. I never wanted to live my life doing the same things that everybody else. Like people like, oh, the black sheep. I would rather be the black sheep than be the white sheep amongst all the other white sheeps going in one direction. I'm gonna be the one that's going this way. Everybody's going this way. I'm gonna be the one that's going this way. I realize that about myself. And it's not because I like to be rebellious. It's not because I like to be rebellious. It's just some things that I feel like we don't actually think about. Like I say to music artists, right? If you sacrifice $100, especially if you are a parent and you are a music artist, if you sacrifice $100 and you've been doing music for 25, 7, hell, 2 years, and you haven't got that $100 back, it is time for you to reevaluate your musical journey. And I'm not saying stop. I'm just saying, like for me, right? With the Nurturing Conversations podcast. The Nurturing Conversations podcast came about because I wanted to talk about the different things that I was experiencing in my life. And I was just thinking, like, if I'm experiencing this, I'm sure somebody out there is experiencing what I'm experiencing or similar to it, or somebody has already overcame what I've been through. And if you share your stories, I feel like, a lot of people be like, everybody has a story. Right. Everybody has a story. And just like everybody has a story, everybody has a testimony where they have overcome it, how they overcome it, what they did during it. And that helps people who are in situations. So that's why I'm like, it's a Nurture Conversations podcast. And I'm going to talk about everything. And I'm talking about the prices that I paid. I was in, I dim my light. I would go into rooms and I was sitting along the wall. You know how you see go to clubs and see people sitting along the walls and you like, this a club, the music is jumping. Why you not dancing? I would go into different rooms and I wanted to be in those rooms. I wanted to be in those rooms, but I was too afraid to speak up. I was too afraid to say hi. I would just be over there, just eating. I would be eating, snacking, and if somebody came up to me, then I would have a conversation. But I wasn't like I am now. I would go in those rooms and I would just be silent. I would watch stuff happen and I would just be silent. And I promised myself going in the pandemic, I'm not being that no more. I'm going to anymore. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to talk. I'm going to say what needs to be said. Like everybody have the same thought. Like you ever walk in a room and everybody have the same thought, or like there's somebody talking and everybody in the room. I'm sure everybody in the room be like, would you shut up? We know who you are. We know what you do. Just shut up. But people don't want to say that, so they'll just keep letting the person talk. And then after the person is done, they'll go over in the little groups and be like, man, he or she sure was talking for a long time. So I decided I'm just going to talk about the elephant in the room because the problem is nobody talks about the elephant in the room. So I began to speak. I did the Nurturing Conversation podcast to get more comfortable with my voice. I in the process of the last 4 years, I actually verbally spoke the things that happened to me in my childhood. And I didn't realize how much I was affected by those things until I verbally spoke out loud what happened to me. And in processing it all, I just realized like I was so afraid of people like figuring out, what happened to me and like using that against me. I really wasn't afraid, but at the same time I was, because like, how am I be the greatest music administrator this side of heaven, but then somebody find out that the pastor of the church molested me? Like they gonna try to, like, I was younger with these thoughts, not as an adult. I was younger with these thoughts. They gonna, they gonna try to use that against me. And then when I got older, I was like, no, at this point, I don't really care, because I lived through that. I've overcome that. I went to therapy, and therapy has definitely helped me get to the place where I am now. Um, I'm not hiding from it. It happened. I can't take it back. I will forever live with the thoughts and memories of that. It just doesn't consume my everyday life. It doesn't consume my everyday life. And as I said in my disclaimer, like, I want you to know that whatever you have gone through, whether it was grape, whether it was assault, whether it was molestation, whatever it was, drug addiction, whatever it was, that doesn't define who you are. Those are things that happen to you, and somewhere along the line, you're going to have one of the greatest lessons. You're going to identify you in those situations, because sometimes when those things happen, we lose ourselves. I totally lost myself. I totally lost myself. And it took me going to therapy, it took me going on a journey of healing and self discovery to be who I am, to get back to that person. I wrote a poem, and it is basically like, you go through so many things in your life that the you that you were born to be, the you that you were created to be, it's like suppressed. So then you start taking on all these different things, and you become so many different things to so many different people that you lose yourself. That person who just wanted to be a singer songwriter, who was putting all of their trials and tribulations and testimonies and overcomings into music and just feeling great about it, you literally stop doing music. You're a producer and you're like, man, I know I make great beats, or man, I know I got a vibe, but people aren't paying attention to me. I'm here to encourage you to continue pushing. That person who's supposed to find you, you and them will intersect at the exact moment that you and them are supposed to intersect. A lot of times we be wanting to get that quick. Let's do it really fast. Let me just put this out there so that people can start knowing who I am. That was another thing that I realized that I was doing. I was people pleasing. Like, I was really trying to, like, I remember when I first started out as a music administrator, I was in every artist DM like, hey, let me register your music for you. Let me do this, let me do that, let me do this. Let me tell you about the things that I know about the industry. I was everywhere. I got so burnt out where I was just like, you know what? Fuck all of this. I'm just going to go and travel, and I just travel, and I did like multiple times. This is how I know that what I'm doing right now is what I'm supposed to do. Multiple times I was just like, forget it. And then I had to sit back and just was like, I was too eager, and I was doing it the wrong way. You ever do something and everything on the inside of you is just like, you're not supposed to be doing this? You ever somebody call you and be like, "Hey, come ride with me," and the first thing when they say, "Come ride with me," the first thing says no. That's the first thing. I can guarantee you. I just said that, and you thought in your mind something like, you probably was like, "Let me go lay down and take a nap," and then you was like, "Oh, but I need to wash these dishes." So now you in the kitchen washing dishes, and then when you think about it, when is the next time you're gonna have the opportunity to take a nap? Those dishes could have waited. It was is that for me. Like, I began to really hone in on how I operated, on my modus operandi. I began to really focus in on how I neglected myself for other people. Not intentionally. Sometimes it was intentionally, but not intentionally I was doing it. Because you were like, oh, that's my mom, that's my brother, my cousin, my sister, my niece, my nephew. I just want to make sure they're good. But at the same time, the most important thing you're supposed to make sure is good is you. That's why the question is, what is the price? What are you willing to give up? Like, even most music artists don't realize this, right? That's why I'm glad like ASCAP and BMI and a lot of places are starting to talk about mental health, because mental health definitely is affected, even with social media, even when you're on these streaming platforms, your mental health can definitely be affected. Definitely. And this is why I always encourage anybody to go to therapy, and not just because you have a problem, but I feel like there is things that we just threw in the back of our head, situations that happen to us is we just threw in the back of our head and was just like, oh, that didn't really bother me, when in actuality it really did. I'm gonna tell you guys another story. So I grew up, I'm the only girl in my from my mom and my dad. I'm the only girl, and I'm the oldest. So when I grew up, like nobody was really telling me that I couldn't do something. And I don't know if it was just I don't know if it was just because I was the oldest and the only girl, and they just was like, "Oh, she's so cute." And no one just never, like, I would do things wanting people to tell me not to do it. And then like I remember I went to Vegas for like 2 weeks for, I think I had just turned 21 or 22, and I went to Vegas for 2 weeks. And nobody's like, "No, you shouldn't go to Vegas by yourself. You shouldn't." Like, I had a whole list of reasons why I shouldn't have went, but I still was going because I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to get away from here, just clear. And nobody told me no. I remember I would ask for, like, I asked for a Pelly Pale jacket. I don't know if y'all know what a Pelly Pale jacket is. Those coats was like $600, $700. Got it. I asked for a usher. I was asking for the most insane thing. I wasn't even thinking about asking for like a pony or a horse because, of course, we lived in the hood. Nobody had horses or ponies. But I would ask for like whatever I wanted. I always got. So that kind of as I got older on the journey of healing and self discovery, I thought back to like, man, I was literally getting whatever I asked for. And so for me, that's why it's like, I'm not going to steal because I realized I could ask for it. Why not just ask for it? That's always been, why not just ask for it? I don't have to steal. I could just ask for it. And if I don't get it, I'll go ask somebody else. That was my thing. Mm. My mother not going to buy me an usher chain? Don't worry. I know my uncles will, because I'll make it so sweet. No, but really, I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed a lot. I definitely sacrificed a lot of money. A lot of money. I'm really in tune to this student loan thing because I have student loans. And I'm really just in tune to it because I even like I have a full business. I have a music tech business, right? And I think about when they be talking about funding, and I was like, wait, I went to school and they was just throwing money. When I say when I say throwing money, I mean they were throwing money at me. And now it's like, wait a minute. At that time, I was just trying to get to school. I was trying to get my degree. I didn't wasn't really thinking about anything else. I was writing essays. So a lot of my money came from like grants, writing essays and stuff like that. I do got student loans, but it's just like you guys would give me a loan at the age that I was. I was young. You guys would give me a loan to go to school, but now I want to do like a business, or I want to like invest in real estate, and it's like, oh, you got to jump through all these hoops. But I was like here, and you guys was like, here's $100,000. And I just look back at everything I went through in my life, and I just was like, man, like the story I was going to tell you guys, but I forgot and segue. um when I was growing up, I felt like my parents didn't love me. Like, again, I'm the oldest and the only girl. So I felt like they didn't love me. It's not that they didn't love me. I felt that they didn't love me because they didn't do, like, I would watch the TV shows. Like, they didn't do the things like the people on the TV did. Like, my mom made sure that I had all of the girly clothes. She made sure that I had my bedroom, had the day bed. I had all of the rainbow bright strawberry shortcake. I had all the stuff. I had everything a little girl could possibly want, but I still felt like my mom didn't love me. My father, of course, wasn't really around, but it wasn't until I got older. And I'm saying this to you because maybe you are young and you're still living with your parents, or you don't have a good relationship with your parents. But I'm saying this to you because I want you to hear what I'm saying. When I got older, I went to therapy and I learned that it wasn't that my parents didn't love me. It was just that I thought they didn't love me. And so when I thought they didn't love me, I felt abandoned by them. And because I felt abandoned by them, I started to do things so that people wouldn't feel or like wouldn't leave me or wouldn't not love me. And so that caused me to go down a whole path where I learned a lot. I learned a lot in what abandonment and rejection and how it affects a person. I learned a lot. You want to talk about that? We could talk about that. I learned a lot. I did a lot of things seeking for approval or attention or just for somebody to say, hey, I support you. I love you. I appreciate you. And so then as I got older, you get into relationships and you start to see things and you ever, be like, I wish a motherfucker would and I'll do this. And you have a whole list of things. If somebody did, this is what you're gonna do. And I was in relationships and I started to see people do the things that I said I wish somebody would do. And my response to those things wasn't what I said it was gonna be. It was just like I saw myself literally shrink. And the whole time I'm watching myself shrink, I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get away from this. This isn't good for me. This is affecting my health. And I had all of those things in my mind as I was still moving through all of that. And it wasn't until I sat down and was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm one of those people like once I say I don't want to do something, that next second, I'm doing the complete opposite. I know a lot of people be like it's easier said than done. That next second, I am doing the complete opposite. If I say I don't want to procrastinate anymore, like I literally had a conversation with my mentors and I was like, I need to do music business seminars. I need to. I knew 4 years ago that I should be doing music business seminars. But again, I was holding myself back. I got I got a board right here. I got a board right here. And there's music business seminars, podcasts, social media is all kinds of things written out, planned, written out, planned. If somebody came to me today and be like, hey, can you do a music business seminar? Yes, I can. Could you do it Monday? Yes, I can. Because I already got it all planned out, all laid out. But I told my mentor, I said, I don't want to like music artists need to know. And if I'm the person that's supposed to let music artists know, I'm doing a horrible fucking job because I say my little things on TikTok and I say my little things on people's um statuses or when I'm talking to them, like when I'm face to face, but there's so much more I can do. I have a whole music tech platform where there's courses, there's all kinds of things, but I never talk about it. I have a whole platform, but I never talk about it. And in on this journey of healing and self-discovery, I realized like I never talk about the things that I do because a part of me still have that I don't want people to think that I'm better than them. And I sacrificed that. And I listened to people say, be humble. And then I said to myself when I turned 44, fuck being humble. I want you to know that in 3 years, I'm in season 3 of my concert series. On the third year, I hosted a concert at the largest music festival in the world for 2 hours. They gave me 2 hours. And I took 10 artists and we shut that shit down. When I tell you, we had gospel, youth, LGBT, we had soul, R&B, hip hop across all genres. I did that. When I tell you I have a bachelor's degree in music administration, I did that. I made history 2 times in 1 year. I did that. And if that makes you feel any kind of way, I'm not going to say I'm sorry. That should make you feel like I should do more. We we allow people to only do the bare minimum to get by. If you've been in a relationship and you've been in that relationship for 5, 2, 10, 12, however many years you've been there, and you have hopes, dreams, and aspirations of being married, and you know when you're in a relationship if that person is your person and that person isn't your person, but you still holding on to hope, what is the price you are willing to pay for your happiness? I knew I knew I was in a relationship, and I knew that I knew. I would tell the person, I would literally tell them, like, hey, I know this is going to happen. So when it happened, I was taken aback because I didn't actually think that it would happen, but I knew that it was going to happen the entire time. And I just thought because I meant so much to this person, it wouldn't happen, but it happened. So I'm gonna say if you've been in a relationship for a long period of time or any period of time, you know if this person is who you actually want to spend the rest of your life with, or if this is just something we doing. This is an adult situationship. Like friends with benefits, but this is just an adult situationship. We don't got no titles. We don't got no titles, but we do adult things. I was talking to somebody, I was like, I feel like when you've been in a relationship and you be like, well, I'm not ready to start over. I don't want to start over. I'm gonna just stay here. Cause they've been good to me. We've been together for whatever. And then you stay there. And then it's like when y'all end on such a horrible note where it's just like, y'all was the best of friends for all the time. And then you end and it's horrible. I said to myself, I'm going to start paying attention to myself. You ever go somewhere and you get a feeling like I should probably leave? And then you don't leave, and then you be like, damn, I should have followed my first mind. And something happens and you be like, damn, I should have followed my first mind. I really started paying attention to myself. Like I was juicing for 2.5 years, and I got sick, had to have major surgery, and I've been afraid to work out, and I've been afraid to juice again. I'm just total transparency. I'm just telling y'all. So the last couple of weeks, I've been working out. I started with a 5-minute workout, a 10-minute workout. As the weeks went on, I increased it. So last week I worked out Monday, but I spent the rest of the week walking around Summerfest, the largest music festival in the world. So I wasn't really working out then. But it wasn't until I started working out last week, on the first week of June, that I realized that I was afraid to work out because I didn't know if my body was ready for that yet. Like I spent so much time like, oh, I just had a major surgery, knowing that I was still out here walking, knowing I was lifting up stuff, but I wasn't ready to fully commit to working out. That was me giving myself an excuse as to why I couldn't work out. Even with juicing, it was like, ooh, I need to have lamb chops before I juice, or I need to have chicken, or I need to have Alfredo, like all these different things. And it was just like, no, honey, you just need to juice. And then like I started coughing up mucus and just like different things. And it was like, this is why you just need to fast and you need to juice. And so I just started drinking coconut water. Previous to now, I hated coconut water. And I said, I need to fast and I need to juice. And then I was like, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to integrate it? So I started drinking green tea. Every morning I drink green tea. I do a ginger shot with ginger, turmeric, cayenne. I use coconut water for it. And then I drink coconut water throughout the day. Like I said, if I'm going to start juicing, I don't want to just jump right into juicing because I know myself. I want to make sure that I can I started doing liquids, and then I do fruits. And then I was on TikTok and it was like, hey, have you tried okra water? And I was like, ugh, okra's disgusting. But then I tried okra water with my juices. Like, so I put like watermelon, peaches, mangoes, pineapples, of course, ginger, turmeric. And I used okra water and I had energy like beyond what I would normally have. So I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that. And so then I was just like, let me try coconut. Let me get coconut water another try. It's definitely an acquired taste, but let me give it another try. So I just started drinking it. And then I realized that I had energy. I wasn't dehydrated. Like I didn't feel sluggish. I was just good. And then like I said, I've been exercising, I've been walking, I've been doing a lot, and I just surprised myself. Was like, oh my God, I just did a 45-minute workout and I'm not tired. Even every time after I work out, it's on my YouTube channel. It's actually on all platforms. But even after I work out, that first workout, I was like, I can't do this. I should have waited a little bit. And then I was like, no, I'm not giving myself excuses anymore. I don't know about y'all. I'm gonna say I used to give myself a lot of excuses as to why I couldn't do anything. Like I had this whole idea for a music business seminar. I got a book that accompanies it. I have a work like a in class homework assignment, or like a something that accompanies the workshop. I have all of this. And so I told my mentors, I had turned 44. I was like, fuck that. Everything I ever wanted to do, I'm going to do it. If that means I have to give money, if I have to give time, if I can't go hang out, I'm going to do. I have to do at least two music business seminars before this year's over with. I have more, but I have to do two. I have to do one right now, like because we're in the third quarter, and I'm definitely going to do one in the fourth quarter. And so I told my mentors, and this is what I want to tell you. If you don't feel like you're able to do something on your own, get you an accountability partner, somebody that will hold you accountable, somebody that's going to call you and be like, hey, did you do the outline for your book? Or hey, did you got the thumbnails for your YouTube channel? Or hey, did you upload a TikTok video? Or whatever it is that you're doing. Hey, did you do the outline for whatever it is that you're doing? Get you somebody that's going to call you on your shit and make sure that you doing it. That's something that I realized, like previous, I had those people, but I wasn't really, you have your friends, you have people around, but you don't really be thinking that they gonna take it serious. But I got serious. I got serious about the things that I need to do. And so I called, and so I sent them the outline and everything. Or I said I wanted to have the outline and everything created by this day. And my mentor was on me, messaging me, DMing me, emailing me, like, hey, do you got it? I sent it all over last week. And they were like, oh my God, this is really amazing. And I was like, I know, I've been sitting on this for 3 years. 3 years. Imagine how many artists have released music. Imagine how many artists I've actually talked to have released music or got on these different social platforms. And I'm like, I'm telling them tidbits. And, if they book a consultation with me, then I tell them everything. But it's like, there's a difference between telling somebody and actually showing them while you're telling them. And so I realized that I can talk to you all day about monetizing your content or anything like that. But if I don't show you how, and I'm not one of those people to be like, hey, click this button and I'll show you how. I'm one of those people that be like, hey, if you really want to learn, here's my calendar, set a date, and we'll definitely walk through it. I'm one of those people like I don't I understand that money is necessary for things to be, taken care of. I get that. But at the same time, if you are a music artist, a producer, a singer, a songwriter, I want to show you how you can actually make money. Again, if you put $100 into, that's not even just music. If you put $100 into makeup, content creation, if you haven't figured out how you're going to get that back, you should. If you got creating content, you should have a how to get your first 500 followers or subscribers, or it's so many different things. And if you don't believe me, well, look at all these people doing Chat GPT is helping a lot of people get a lot of money, and you should be included in that. You should definitely be over there. I was sitting here like, I'm over here wrecking my brain, writing all these things down together, and you mean to tell me I could have just went to Chat GPT and typed in? I'm telling you, it's so many different ways to make money right now in 2024. And that's definitely why I be talking to music artists. Like, it's your intellectual property, and not just music artists. It is your intellectual property that is the most important thing that's going to help you get as much money as you can on this earth. But what are you willing to give up? You see those memes where people be like, Jordan's $300, but you can get your passport, a LLC, or all this other stuff. They add it all up, but you would rather go get those Jordans. I'm gonna tell you this: we are 4 years into a global pandemic. They ain't even said when it was over, how it's gonna be over, what's gonna be over. Because right now we're focused on who's gonna be the next president of the United States of America. If you don't know that, you should definitely go check that out. But there's so many different things that we can tell each other. Like I said, it's so many courses, it's so many different people got ebooks, workbooks, You get a book, your mama get a book, everybody got a book. But for me, it's just providing the information. If I can provide you the information and show you how to use it, like I said, I'm going to start doing more entrepreneurial things on my channel, because a lot of people be talking about get your LLC, get your S corp, a C corp, do all of that, but people don't talk to you about the taxes that you have to pay when you do all those things. People don't talk to you about how much it costs to do all of those things. They'll tell you to do it, but they don't tell you like the ins and outs of it. That's why when I started to think about um my music business seminar, I named it exactly what it should be named, because people not gonna tell you. I go and I pitch. I've been in the last 6 years, of course with COVID, but I still do virtual networking events and stuff like that. But I've literally been in the room for the last 6 years with millionaires, multimillionaires, venture capitalists, people who have tons of money that they can give to businesses, to entrepreneurs. Like there's tons of money. But you know what the question they always ask me? Because in my business, as I told y'all, is to educate music artists. It's to show them how they make money, where they make money, when they make money, how much money they could possibly make. They always say to me, "Why aren't you on the other side? Why don't you have a record label? Why don't you have an artist management company?" I do have an artist management company, but why don't you have these things? And you know that you're going to affect the livelihood of a lot of people. And I was like, of course. And why shouldn't those people be the people who are actually creating the music? Do you know that a lot of the people that are making decisions on music, on how you receive the music, on who gets released, a lot of these people have never touched a musical instrument. They don't sing, they don't write, they don't play instruments. They can't even tell you a key on a piano. They don't have any kind of music knowledge whatsoever. A lot of them only see numbers. They only know dollars. And so for me, it's like we need to get more compassionate people, more people who understands like music, even like social media. A lot of these people, they don't even be on they, they are CEOs of these damn companies, and they don't even be on these social platforms. They come when they have to. Other than that, they just be living their life, doing whatever. And here we are trying to fight algorithms. Let me tell y'all something. I I talk to music artists all the time about being on social media, right? And so they listen to these people who tell them about people will look at my social medias and be like, well, you only have 1,000, you only have 900, 200, whatever, right? But I tell people like, you're worried about an algorithm, but you don't even have one person that would join you while you're live. For me, all it takes is one. All it takes is one. I could talk to one person all day because that helps me build on my vocabulary. That helps me get my talking points. I said a lot of times at the beginning, but now I feel more comfortable talking. Um then I say being on these different platforms, you have instant access with the people who are going to support you. I remember for a minute it was like, you could release a song, your family and friends was gonna share it, they was gonna listen to it. Now it seemed like everybody do music. So now it's like you want them to share your music, but they got music at the same time. And I'm just like, if you get on these social platforms, you can actually talk to people who could assist you. You could talk to people who could support you. I have music producers where I say, hey, if you get on these different platforms, because everybody looking for a beat, everybody trying to show they can sing, rap, write, whatever. If you make a beat and go on to TikTok or YouTube and say, who do you hear on this? Or drop your best 16 or 32, or feel free to use this to make a song. And then what happens is people will actually use it and make a song. People actually use it and like share it on their social media. So you wrote a song and you like, hey, drop your hot 16 and you drop it on TikTok. It's going to go from TikTok to Instagram to YouTube, Snapchat. It's going to be everywhere. But then, you have the proper metadata embedded into your videos. So wherever it goes, you're going to get money for it. If you want to know what I'm talking about, just slide into my DMs. I can help you with that. But anyways, it's so many different things. Like I be talking to music artists. Like I say, I talk to music artists because that's who I be talking to a lot. One of the music artists I just recently spoke with, he was like, "Yeah, I'm about to drop a mixtape." And now I have this thing when it comes to mixtape. If you are a music artist, I want to know. I want to know. I want to know what you think. Uh, I think that we are in 2024 and everyone has either a phone, an iPad, a tablet, a watch, or some kind of device in their hand. So you don't need to drop a mixtape because my thing is like, why do you create a mixtape? And 9 times out of 10, is because I want people to know that I can rap. I want people to know that I got this style of rap or this style of rap. I can rap over this. I can rap over that. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, everybody is in the digital spaces. My mama is on Facebook and Instagram. So, and she's in her 60s. So I'm saying everybody is here. Of course, there's people that's not here, but everybody is here. So why don't you just pick up your phone and go on TikTok or YouTube and be like, hey, y'all, I'm about to do a 30-day beat challenge, or I'm about to do a bar a day challenge, or if you're a songwriter, I'm about to write a song about a color, or I'm gonna write a song about every letter. Sorry, y'all, I just came up with a whole challenge that I could do. I'm gonna use a letter of the alphabet and write a song. How dope would that be? Would y'all watch that? If somebody was like, you know what, for the next 26, 25, however many letters in the alphabet, I'm going to do a song a day for the alphabet. Would you tune in for that? Or if you're like a producer, like, you know what, I'm going to flip nursery rhymes every day and you go live and you flip nursery rhymes. People will actually come and watch you because we are in a time, we are in a global pandemic and people are nosy. You want to know what you're doing. We want to know how you survive it. I'm definitely doing it. I'm gonna start a challenge tomorrow. I don't know what I'm gonna start, but that alphabet, that definitely, that's definitely in line. So I have an idea on this board right here for a series on children's books, and I created a bunch of them. I just haven't uploaded them. I should. I'm going to this week. I'm going to upload them on YouTube. I grew up in church. I feel like I don't attend church now. I feel like the younger generations don't have, um, or the older generations, or I say people, period, don't have a clear understanding of Bible stories. And so I was like, why don't I give them Bible stories from an urban perspective, like my perspective? Like, talking about like David and Goliath, it's like, oh, there was a giant and David came out with a slingshot and a stone. And it's like, nah, we in 2024. We got to make David sound like, it's still the same story, but you're giving it to them where they can actually see it. Like, you ever listen to a song? Like, there's this song, one step closer. I will die every day waiting for you. I don't know if that's the thing, but it's a melody that catches me every time. And it's just like I can really envision loving somebody for 1,000, 10,000, however many years. She said, I can envision that. Like wanting to give everything you got to that person. Like I can envision that. So when I be talking to music artists, I was like, don't just like, oh, let me tell y'all something that I really have come to understand, that music artists are just so used to like seeing other people do it and then they do it. Like y'all remember when Beyonce and Future had dropped like midnight albums or late night albums and then everybody was like, I got a surprise album. And it was like, you have no fans. And I'm not saying that you don't have no fans. You probably have one or two fans, but you've never actually talked to them. You just dropped your album and was like, tag 99 people and say, hey, go check out my album. But you never actually talk to them. Like I talk to y'all. I come and play games with y'all. I meditate with y'all. I work out with y'all. I really do interact with you guys, girls and non-binary people. But I'm just like, what if you just picked up your phone and was like, hey, I am insert artist name here and insert genre here, and I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone and I'm going to create content for the next 30 days. then you will start getting people who follow you here, who purchase your single, who purchase your album, who purchases the concert ticket. Now they got your sweatshirt, your t-shirt on. Like those are the things that I feel like artists is missing, but everybody is the ability to create music is so readily accessible now. Like you can literally download BandLab or GarageBand on your phone and you can go to town and be making all kinds of beats. But for me, it's just like there's a lack of education on how to actually get paid. Like people be like, oh yeah, I'm on the radio. And I'd be like, hey, did you register with this organization? And like, no, I don't need to do that. And I was like, well, yeah, you need to know how many spins. Like, what's your objective? That's what I asked. What's your objective? My objective with the Nurturing Conversations podcast is to ensure that we have conversations about everything. I talk about everything. There's nothing off limits with me. I talk about everything because a lot of things we need to talk about. Like, we definitely need to talk about healing. We definitely need to talk about who the fuck is going to be the next president of the United States of America. We need to talk about Project 2025 and not just like, oh, it's about to be 2025. We need to start really looking at the things that they just reversed this week. Like, we really need to start looking at those things. I remember when I was in high school, 2 decades ago, 4 decades ago. Whoa. No, when was back in high school, it was like the 90s. That sounds so old. It was the 90s. And I remember I used to be on student senate and student council, and I would run for all these different seats. And I was like, I'm older now. And I was like, no, I need to know. I need to know who was doing what and why they doing it. And then especially with the pandemic, I needed to know. I needed to know why I should be stuck or what this medicine is going to do to me. I needed to know about ventilators and how they work. I'm one of those people. If I want to know something, I'm jumping. I'm not going to slide down. I'm going to jump down and I will figure my way back up out of there once I figure it out. That's like we are still 4 years into a global pandemic, right? And every time I go live or every time I talk, I'd be like, hey, make sure you get you some waters or some toiletries. Like I remember when I was growing up, my grandmother had a deep freezer. I went to every family member, they had deep freezer and they had meat, they had canned goods, they had the mason jars. I didn't know that's what they were called, but they mason jars because I use those for juicing now. But they had mason jars, they had beans, they had all kinds of stuff stored up. I remember my grandmother would like make us eat all kinds of things like asparagus and Brussels sprouts. And she was like, you never know, one day it's probably all you have to eat. And I didn't think about it at that time because I was young. Like, no, I ain't never eating broccoli. I'm never eating this. And now as an adult, those are things that I like to eat. But think about this, right? Back in the days they was storing stuff like people that go hunt and fish. Like if you don't know how to fish or hunt, you should probably be trying to figure those things out, because I'm not saying something is going to happen, but you should be able to provide for your family. So anyways, there's so much stuff going on in this world, and if you are not eligible or not able to take care of your family, I remember 2020, it was like the grocery stores, everything was shutting down. People was charging $5 for a bottle of water. Like there was widespread spread panic, and now it's like, oh, it's not as we're not as like we don't have to worry about it as much. Did y'all know like it was a syphilis outbreak? Do y'all remember the Tuskegee Airmen with the syphilis outbreak? When I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, somebody just up in there just unleashing every. It was monkeypox, norovirus. We don't literally had every in a span of 4 years. We don't literally had everything. There was like everything. And people out here just like, I'm trying to be outside. And I'm in here like, okay, should this happen? I got this. I'm making sure this is good. Like, I thought, like, because I lost people. I don't know about y'all, but I lost people during this pandemic. I almost lost my damn self. Three times. Like, 3 times I almost checked out of here in at least these last 4 years. And as recently as January. As recently as January. And I made a plan to myself, was like, oh no, this is what I'm gonna do. If I have to stay in my house, I'm cool with staying in my house. I can do seminars and everything from right here, but if I have to go outside, mask, sanitizer. Even in 2024, mask and sanitizer. Cuz it's so many people out here who's still catching it. and passing it. And what is the price? What is the price you're willing to pay to be healthy? My price is I am sacrificing. I said, I sure wish I could have some lamb chops and mint julep. I didn't know how good mint julep was when you dip the lamb chops. Oh, Texas Day Brazil, I'm telling y'all, they got the best. But at the same time, it's like, no, I want to be able to go up a flight of stairs and not be out of breath. I don't be out of breath now, but I want to like continuously do that. I want to, you see how big my arms are? Y'all see that muscle right there, right? I want to have more muscular defined arms. I ain't trying to be no bodybuilder or nothing, but I want to get back to that. I want to be able to move around and I want to be anything pop off. I want to be able to run. I want to be good. That's what I want to be. I want to be good. I want to be healthy. I want to be able to have full function of my limbs. I don't want to be groggy. I don't want to be tired. I don't want to just be like, oh, even when it comes to my business, I want to be so on point. I can't be like I'm the greatest music administrator this side of heaven and my business isn't in order. I talked to my lawyers a couple of weeks ago and I was like, hey, I need this, 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 and this. And I was like, I've been in these different accelerators and no one has said, I've been waiting. I've been asking the question, how do I do this? Or what do I need in order to do this? And it was like, oh, don't worry. This is what you need. So they gave it to me. I made sure that was taken care of. But if you're in business, make sure your business is in order. LLC, EIN, all of that. Make sure you got trademarks, copyrights, patents, whatever you need. It's the intellectual property. It's the intellectual property is where the money is. Think about it. Me and my niece was talking. We went to Target yesterday, and my niece's name is Jamela, and we call her Mella. So, excuse me. We went to Target. We walking down the aisle. She's like, "Does that water say Mella?" And the water said Mella. And we laughed. And she was like, "Oh, I need to file a lawsuit." And I laughed because I thought about the young lady whose name is Sierra Miss, and she filed I guess Pepsi's trademark. I'm paraphrasing here. I guess Pepsi's trademark on Sierra Mist had lapsed or something like that, and she purchased it. Like she went and got it, and so the whole reason why it's not Sierra Mist anymore is partly because of her. So now they had to name it Starry. And I was just laughing at my niece because I was like, because we were having a whole conversation about it, and I was like, it's the intellectual property. And you probably just out here thinking like I be telling music artists all the time, you should definitely trademark your name. Remember that? Remember for a long stretch, it was like Lil Wayne, Lil Baby, Lil Achu, Lil. It was Lil. Everybody had a Lil Kim. It was everybody had a little. Then it was like Baby. Then it was like people just be pulling names out. They see your name. It's like, oh, let me add a little R. Or let me add a something. Trademark your names. Like right now with AI, I'm speaking on a panel this coming week. Oh, I'm speaking on a panel that's coming in a week on how artificial intelligence is going to change the music industry. And at first, I was just like, because I'm one that wants to make sure that music artists get paid for the music they create. So at first, I was real apprehensive about it. But let me tell you, I've been watching artificial intelligence move. I've been watching how it's like been moving through the industry. And so I was telling someone, I was like, do you remember the movie Surrogates? If you haven't seen Surrogates with Bruce Willis, you should definitely go. I'm sorry to hear about what's going on with Bruce Willis, but if you haven't seen Surrogates with Bruce Willis, I literally was telling people, Surrogates and iRobots. I was literally telling people it's so freaky how those movies are like, even with Gamer with Russell Crowe. Like those three movies, I'll be referring to people all the time because I was like, with Surrogates, it's like you have you put on like goggles you put on goggles and like you can literally become somebody else. You can literally be anybody else. You could be a black. I'm a black woman. I could be a white woman. I could be tall. I could be whatever I want to be out in the world, and I never have to leave my home. So now I started seeing all of these Oculus and all these different things and the workouts, and then you can literally have virtual meetings and stuff like that. And I was just like, holy shit, this is surrogates right here. Or iRobots. You got robots that clean the floor. You got people actually, there's They had actual robots at a baseball game, like actual real life robots, the iRobots at a baseball game. And I was just thinking, like, man. And then I started to think about music, and they had holograms, and people was like, oh, it's a hologram of Whitney Houston, oh, it's a hologram of Tupac. And then I started to think about, well, how will people get paid for that? Do y'all remember if it was it FN Mecca or somebody Mecca, where he got signed to a record? He was an artificial. He was an artificial, a virtual rapper, and he got signed to a record deal. Of course, that didn't work out because y'all, if you know how it happened. But and then I started to understand that it's your likeness and your image and your voice. So a lot of the music, the record labels now, when they're doing record deals, like, because like think about it, right? We are in 2024. We're like in a digital age. Think about the people who signed record deals back when it was like 8 tracks and vinyl, right? How are they getting paid? That was my thought. Like, how are they getting paid? Who negotiated on their behalf that when we became like digital, or when we started doing like CDs and cassettes and MP3s, like who went and negotiated for them to get they just due? Because they should be eating. They should be eating. They shouldn't be broke. They shouldn't be having to go out on tour again because they don't have as much money as they once had. Like, they money should carry over. That's like everyone's like selling their music catalog, right? And so I work in the area of music administration, and people are asking me like, would you sell your catalog? And I said no. And it's like, well, why are people selling it? This is the number one thing I hear when people sell their music catalog, especially from people of color. They say, I made that so I can make more. And then I always say, but you're not thinking about um, the sentiments that are tied to that music. You're not thinking about, like, yes, you probably can write a bunch of other songs, but you're not thinking about, y'all remember for a whole like decade or two, it was wedding song. You had wedding songs, breakup songs, makeup songs. It was like different songs, right? And like now it's like, when's the last time you heard a song you'd be like, oh, I'll play that at my wedding? The song I just sung, I'm waiting for you. Now, I'm not saying that there's not songs. I'm saying there was a whole decade or two where there was like songs for weddings, songs that you play, like you dance with your wife, you dance with your mother, you dance with your father. Like, there were songs, backyard barbecue songs, like we got Not Like Us, but I mean, like, what happened to those songs? What happened to that music? Like, for me, it's just like there's we are going in the area of everything is like they have um Sonos, I think it is. I think it's Sonos, where you can say, "Hey, I want to do a R&B song like Usher, and I want to talk about losing my baby or something like that." And the song, it will make the song for you, the beat, it will make everything for you, and then you could release it. Y'all remember they had Drake and Metro Boomin before all of that happened, but they had a fake song. Like, that's real life was the next iteration. So I'm telling music artists, you need to own everything. Someone once said to me, I'd rather have 20% of something than 100% of nothing. And that struck me. That struck me in a way where it was like, so you would be okay with, I get it. Let me say, I get it. I would be okay with owning 100% of something that has the potential to be used, and I get paid for it, than I have to give 20% of something, and that 20% I'm still not seeing anything. So you basically, I would rather know that I own it, and then I could lease it to you, or you could, you know. But music artists selling their catalog, it's a no for me. And then they're selling it to people again who don't do music, who don't really have. They just have the people in their ear that's like, oh, you could get a ton of money from this. You could license this to movies. I remember I watched a commercial, and it had two of Etta James songs in the same commercial, and I was just like, how the hell did that happen? But yeah, commercials, movies, YouTube, everything is monetized. You can monetize everything nowadays. But what is the price you're willing to pay? I I was talking to music artists because with all the things that happen with Diddler, the Sean Combs, Puffy, P. Diddy, whatever you want to call him. All the stuff that's been coming out about, but it's like for me, it's like you want to be in the music industry. What are you willing to give up to be in it? And I'm not asking because I want you to give up something, but I'm asking, what are you willing? Are you willing to do long nights? Are you willing to go on boat trips? And you have people over you that's wanting you to do things that you are totally against. What are you going to stand on your morals and value? Are you going to be a person of integrity? If you are a woman, are you willing to work with women? And I'm asking that as a real question. Are you willing to work with men? Are you willing to work with women? Because there are women producers, there are women that do these things. Or are you willing to give up the things that you want to do because you have to fight off? And I'm not saying that that is going to happen, but I'm saying the reality of it is that it does happen. Even men, like, are you willing? What are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up everything you work hard for just so you can be famous? And now it's like you can literally pick up your phone and be famous. Literally. It's so many people being famous for all kinds of things. I just watched a video on YouTube where a nurse, she has a gambling addiction and she left her baby in the car for 5 hours while she was gambling. And the people in the casino watched her get out of her car. I don't know how they saw it was a baby in there, but for 5 hours they watched the camera while the lady and watched her gambling. And in my mind, it was like, in 5 hours, y'all didn't think to like call the police. Like, it's people going famous for everything. It's OnlyFans. It's all kinds of stuff that people are being famous for. So you don't even have to work as hard as you once did to be famous. But what are you willing to do to get there? Like I said, for me, I was willing to get out of my comfort zone and I was willing to look fear in the face and say, fuck you. I'm going to be what I wanted to be. I'm going to do these music business seminars. I'm going to say it right here, 2025. There will be more Wisconsin artists on the Summerfest stage. And I'm saying that out loud. Like, I will have a hand in getting more music artists. I'm saying that, like, I'm speaking that, I'm manifesting that, like, I'm speaking that into flourishing. I will do whatever I can, and when I say whatever, I mean I'm going to talk to whoever. I have a plan on my whiteboard right here on how to make it happen. I went to Summerfest. I paid attention. Um, I'm going to have a petition. I'm going to figure it out. Whatever I need to do, I'm definitely going to do that. This music business seminar is happening. I already got the outline, the presentation. I'm gonna give you all the details so that you could be active. You could actively participate. But what are you willing to give up? I remember when I was singing and recording, and I went to one studio session, and that studio session rubbed me the wrong way, and I purchased all of my own equipment. This was years ago. I always made sure I had my own equipment because it didn't feel right. The person didn't want to release my music because they was like, "Oh, I thought you was no." It's a no. I came in here to give you money for recording session. It's a no for me. I'm not with that. I've literally walked away from different things because they wanted other. It's a no for me. If my intellect or my ability to communicate or my work can't get me in that door, it's a no for me. I don't even need to go. And people be like, "Well, how did Cassie or how did Little Rod or how did these different people?" It's so many people that want to be on another level of fame, another level of wealth, that they're willing to do anything to be there. And I'm here to say, in 2024, you don't even have to do that. You want to be a makeup artist, you could be on TikTok, going live, doing makeup looks. You want to be an author, you can be on YouTube. You can write your book. And I'm telling y'all something that I did and I'm going to share this week. You can write a book and do an audio version of your book and use things like Mid Journey to create illustrations, and you can read your book on YouTube. And then you could even put it up on, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, audiobooks. Audiobooks are great because everybody, don't be having time to sit down and read a book. Me and my niece went to Barnes and Noble, and one day, I'm saying one day because one day I will adjust to it. But right now, I love books. Like, so I went to Barnes and Noble and I'm just looking at the books. I'm picking up books. And then as I'm picking up the books, and I was like, listen, Chelle, you got this book on your iPad. You just haven't read. I gotta get accustomed to swiping with my fingers. Like, I like to feel the paper. I like to highlight. I like to circle. I like to make a dot. I like to write on the inside of the column, like, hey, this is, my thoughts when I read that. Like, that's me. So I'm in Barnes and Noble, was like, yeah. And then I was like, I have all these books on my iPad. So I have to get out of my comfort zone of not having the book in the hand and reading on the iPad. We're in a digital age, Shell. You gotta. And so that's what I said. I was like, I'm not gonna buy this book because I have this book on my iPad. I just have to pick up my iPad and read it. So that's another one of the things that I'm doing. I'm doing more. I love to read. I love to read. And I will literally. Now I'm into reading books by African American entrepreneurs because I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm into reading books and understanding. Like, someone was like, I'm in the music industry. So someone was like, oh, you guys should watch the playlist. I think it is on Netflix. It was like, if you are a music tech person, you should watch the playlist on Spotify. So I'm watching it and I become so incredibly pissed off. Number one, I'm an African American woman. I'm a black woman with a music tech platform. And so I'm watching it, and they've had millions of dollars that they could just do whatever with. Like, if you don't believe me, go watch it, the playlist. Oh, it's about Spotify. So they had built out this whole platform and didn't have any permissions and licenses or anything, but they were still pitching and getting money and doing all kinds of things. And I was just sitting here looking like, what? Here I go to I can tell them I have a bachelor's degree. I'm a music artist. I've navigated this way. I navigated professionally, personally, educationally. I done did all the facets of the music industry, and they just looking at me like, no. But then somebody can come and have no platform, just have an idea of something that they want to do, and they would just throw money at it. And I'm just looking like, this is making me so upset. But I watched it all the way to the end, and then the guy from Spotify was basically saying it costs no money to make music. And I was just like, but again, a lot of these people who are over these different organizations, these different music organization platforms that's making money, DistroKid. Like, a lot of these people don't do music. They're not musicians. They're not producers. They're not singers, songwriters. They're not artist managers. They have no ties to music other than getting money. That's it. And I was just looking like, here I am, busting my ass, trying to make sure music artists are educated, trying to make sure doing this all on my own, bootstrapping. And y'all just throwing money at these people, throwing them. I gotta have all the licenses. I gotta have trademarks. I have to have all this stuff. You gotta see all this stuff from me. This guy just was like, hey, I got a platform that's gonna help music artists get. And it was like, money. All these the money. That's all they got. And that's a show. I literally, where I live at, there was this group of young men who created a platform, and they were able to raise a lot of money. They were able to raise a lot of money. They was able to get a lot of music artists on their platform, and then it was just like, we gonna move to NFTs, and then it was like, we just gonna shut it down. And I was asking them the question, like, what about all the artists who put exclusive music that they only released on your platform? What about those artists? And it was just like, well, we're moving on to other things, and that's literally what they do other things now. They don't do the music thing that they got all of the inner city artists to sign up for. And that's where, when I did my Summerfest Tech pitch, I was like, hey, listen, there is a great disconnect between the artists here and the music industry here. Like, we have the largest music festival in the world in our backyard, and we got to fight tooth and nail just to get on the stage. And I'm not saying that we should
I'm not saying that we should just get like privileged to be on the stage, but at the same time, we should be considered, given that it is the largest music festival in the world. You should consider musicians from your hometown to put them on the stage to showcase largest music festival in the world. And here's the artists that we have. But don't worry, because I'm gonna be talking about that a lot because I want us to do better. Us, everybody to do better. I want artists to put themselves together, to put their packages together so that they can submit and yeah, we gonna do better. 2025. There's going to be a lot of Wisconsin talent at Summerfest 2025. And I will be at the forefront of that. I'm taking on that responsibility because it needs to happen. Y'all see the difference? Where before it would be like, somebody would do it. You ever had a somebody would do it? You ever see somebody like you see a young person? Like I thought it was super dope. My niece, I've been taking her to like business meetings. Excuse me. I've been taking her to like business meetings and things that I do because I know she has a love for music. I know she loves photography and videography. So like I'm like, hey, come with me. While I was at Summerfest doing stage, I was stage mom, stage manager, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, hey, come with me because then you can, network and talk to the different photographers, videographers that's there. And so they were so nice. They were so cool. They gave her contact information. They exchanged emails and was like, hey, if you ever have a question, if you ever, just, and they was so nice. Like they were so nice. But that's the thing, like, she was super excited. She was talking to me about it and like, oh, this is what I want to do. And I was like, you know what? When she come back, the next time she come back, or that there's another concert, I'm gonna see if I can get her, like, cause that's what she want to do. She's 16, and I'm like, okay, let me see how I can give her like however I can help or assist. Like I want to do that. That's literally me with any music artist. Like so, I was super dope. It was super dope when the artist called me and was like, "Hey, I know you have experience doing this. You helped me in such a. Could you come and do it?" And I felt honored to come and do it. Like because I saw them when they first started doing music and they wasn't unsure on like how they were gonna present themselves to the world. And I actually literally watched them grow and they actually performed on the first season of my concert series. So to see them go from my concert series, they've done other things, but to be on the largest music festival in the world and they killed it. When I say killed it, they killed it. They had rehearsals and it was just a really great time. And for me, it was just like, and you didn't want to be a teacher. You didn't you didn't want to be a teacher. You just wanted to be somebody that was writing songs. And that's how I feel like every time, even when I did the Summerfest, the MKE Live Groove Edition at Summerfest, just to see those artists. Cause I was like, I worked at Summerfest when I was like 14, 15 to like 18. And then I went off and did other stuff. But to see to have been like from when I was 14, 15, all the way to now and like watch it and research it and like analyze it and it was like, okay, so when I had to select or when I got to select who I wanted to come, I'm like, youth definitely need to be there. Gospel definitely need to be there because that's not really represented at the Summerfest. It should be because it's a genre of music. So I was like, let me grab some gospel artists. I was like, LGBT, let me grab some of them, some hip hop, let me grab some soul, let me grab some. I grabbed everybody because I wanted them to. I wanted to show them, like, listen, like these are people that I will put on, and you give me the opportunity for 2025, it'll be better, it'll be greater, it'll be more. Like it should be a stage for gospel. It should be more. And I'm not saying because I just want it. Well, actually I am. I feel like there should be more. There should be a gospel stage. There should be stages to represent different people. I know like they had Bryson Tiller last night. Was it last night? Yeah, it was Bryson Tiller last night. Like they have all these major people. Like if you have major people come and let some of us open up for them. Like the artist that I went, he like opened the hometown set and then they ended it with Little Tekka. But I was like, that would have been dope if they would have had like Lakia or K Camp or hell, they could have brought Hey Tank. They could have brought Tank and that would have been a whole set for like, okay, here's up and coming, here's like established, here's more established, and here's industry. um, Milwaukee or Wisconsin or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, what is the price you are willing to pay to be successful, to be happy, to be loved, to be great? Like, what's the price? I gave y'all a whole bunch of my prices. I done gave up time, energy, hair. I done gave hair. I done lost weight. I done gained weight. I stressed. I done did a lot of things. And then being more in tune with myself and understanding, like, hey, um, you got to listen to yourself because you won't lead yourself wrong. If you're in a relationship and every day you wake up or every time you look at the person, it's like you love them, you are in love with them, but you know that they are not good for you, leave. No, she didn't just telling people to leave. I'm telling you to leave. Just go ahead and leave because you want them to change, and if they ain't changing all this time, they probably won't. And you deserve to be happy. I feel like everybody deserves to be happy, loved, and successful. And I know a lot of people be like, well, success. I don't mean financial wise because a lot of us are not financially responsible. I mean like all of your bills are taken care of. Like you are able to maintain the things that you have and you're happy. Especially if you are a parent, I hope that you are happy so that your kids will be happy. And I hope that you're not. I'm gonna talk maybe next week. I'll talk about it. Um, I listen to people talk, and a lot of guys when I was growing up, I was the only girl for a long time. A lot of guys when I was growing up was like, I'm never gonna be like my father, and a lot of girls was like, I'm never gonna be like my mother. And then for me, it's like you say that, but at the same time, you become exactly like them. Like I knew, like I don't have any kids, but I knew like I wanted to be the auntie that my family was to me. I wanted to be there. I wanted to support them. I wanted to show up for them. I wanted to protect them. I wanted to stand next to them. I wanted to speak on their behalf. I wanted to speak up for them. I want them to know that if anything fucking pop off, I'm going to be there. For me, um, I lost my father. My mother had got sick. My brother has a situation going on. And for me, family is really important. And I remember like I would just not go to family events. I would just be chilling. And then I don't know, I'm always been real family oriented, but it's like after my father died. So in the beginning I was talking to you about like if you have anything going on with your parents, like maybe you ain't talked to them, maybe you feel some kind of way. I want to encourage you to don't just hold that like ah fuck them, I don't care. Don't just hold that, especially if you have kids. I would like to encourage you to resolve that, whether that's you writing a letter, whether that's you writing it on a plate and breaking it. I want you to resolve that because your children are watching you. Parents, if you're a parent, your children are watching you. They're watching you, they're listening to you. Everything that you say, everything that you do, they are watching you. A lot of people try to put it off on other people on why your kids or why they, but the reality of it is everything that children learn, they learn in their households. How to treat other people, they learn in the households. They learn from you. If you be mean to them, if you spew hatred at them, they learn that. So when they go to school, they become bullies and they do all those things because they learn that in their homes. So I want to encourage you to find I want you to find the courage within yourself to resolve that. Hi, praying for better days. Welcome in. I want you to find the courage to resolve that. I had a conversation with my father. My father passed away 2 days after Thanksgiving in 2001. Before he passed away, I was able to build a relationship with him for 6 years. He 6 years prior to his passing, he came, um, he sat down on my couch. We had a conversation. I cried. He cried. We cried together. Um, I always wanted to know, like, why weren't you there? Like, what happened that you decided? Like in my mind, I was like, oh, but why weren't you there? And when I talked to him, and he told me that I had a sister 2 years before I came, I had a sister. She passed away from carbon monoxide poison. And he said he didn't know how to deal. He said he didn't know how to deal with grief. He didn't even know what grief was. He didn't know that's what he was enduring. But now, he got older, went to therapy or whatever. And so he was like, I was grieving and I didn't know how to handle it. And he's like, I didn't know what to do. And for me, it was like, that's all I needed to hear. I knew my father loved me because he would always get messages to me, or he would always send me a birthday card with money. But for me, it was like, I didn't really care about that. I just wanted to know why you didn't love me. And so when he came and sat down on my couch and he, told me that, and he was like, well, I don't want to try to make up for lost time. And I was like, no, we don't have to do that. We could literally start from right now. And he was like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. And he said, I have prostate cancer. And I went from being happy and like, okay, cool, we're gonna be good, to like being so fucking angry. And I was like, how do we finally get to a place where you like in my life, like you're cooking, you're coming over, we're hanging out, we're talking, we're doing all these different things. And now I could possibly like lose you. And so I went from being, I went through all the emotions at one time, and I was just like, fuck it. Every minute, second, hour I have to spend with you, I'm going to spend with you. So he would call and be like, hey, I just cooked. Are you going to come over? So I would go. I live on the north side. He lived way like deep on the south side. So I would go from my house to his house, or he would come over to my house and we would just sit and watch movies and talk and just get to know each other. And for me, that was the greatest thing. And so I didn't realize how important having a relationship with him was for me. And then, of course, he passed away in 2021, November 2021. We go into the new year, 2022. My mom has a series of strokes, and they're like, we happy you got her here when you did, because, hey, Jamela, um, because she is, she has aneurysms, like there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And I was just so distraught. Like, I felt growing up that my parents didn't love me, but my mom made sure that I had everything. Like, she set me up. When I tell y'all my mom set me up for life, she set me up for life. Like, she sent me to Saturday school, but I just felt like she didn't love me. And I can't even honestly tell you why I felt like that. Or I did say, because I thought she should have did. There was a bunch of things I thought she should have did that she didn't do. So I felt that she didn't love me, but that wasn't the case. She did love me. I just wanted love in a different way. So then when I got older and I talked to my parents and I understood I just lost my father, and I'm just like, holy shit, I can't lose my mother too. And so it was just like everything that I had ever thought, felt, hoped, wished they would have did, it all went out of the window. And I was just like, I I don't know. You probably no one probably has ever told you this, but I'll tell you this. It's one thing to like lose a family member. There's loss when you lose a family member. But when you lose a parent, that affects you in a way that I can't really put into words. All I have is tears. Like, so that's why I'm saying, if you have a parent and you haven't, like, you have issues or something, like, resolve that. I'm not telling you to run to them and like, I'm telling you to resolve it. Like, make peace with that. I love my parents. I love my father. He's no longer here, but I love my mother more now. I love her, but I love her more now since I lost my father. And it's just like, we know that our parents are going to pass away one day. Like, we know one day they're not going to be here. But when the reality of that actually sets in, it's terrifying. And no one wants to think about it. But this is what I'm saying. If you have parents, talk to them. Spend as much time as you can with them, because you never know. And this fucking COVID is serious. And not just COVID, there's so many different things out here right now. But you should definitely, And not just your parents. If you have brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, auntie, uncles, spend time with the people that you love and tell them that you love them. I was talking to my niece, who just joined the chat. I was talking to my niece the other day, and I was telling her why when I talk to people, I say I love you. Because I remember for a period of time when people was passing away, the thing that like struck people the most is I never got to tell them I love them. So I thought, if I'm speaking to you, COVID was terrifying. It's still terrifying. We don't know. So I said, whenever I speak to someone, I will always say I love you. Because if that be the last time you hear me, you will hear me say I love you. And I'm one of those people who, if I call you, I'm going to leave a voice message and I'm going to tell you on the voice message that I love you. I'm going to give you a whole message and I'm going to say, well, I love you. I just was calling, to say what I needed to say. And again, I love you and I'll talk to you later. Because voicemails, I don't know if we don't realize how important voicemails is. And this is why I do a lot of content, because people can always go back and watch that. I think it's the cutest thing when my nieces and nephews, they actually grew up on social media. But when they see themselves on the TV, it just be so cute because they be so excited and like, oh my God, it's me on the TV. And for me, it's just like, I just want to give them. I think if you are a parent and you struggled or you went to any kind of thing, it is in your best interest because you know what it's like. It is in your best interest to do whatever the fuck you can. What price will you pay so that your children does not have to go through the same things that you went through? When I thought about feelings of abandonment and rejection from my parents, I love on my nieces, my nephews, my brothers, my cousins. I love on everybody. I hug them. I am a hugger. I would tell people in a minute, they be trying to shake my hand. I'd be like, hey, ooh, I'm a hugger. And I hug people because people don't hug. When was the last time you had a hug? When was the last time somebody hugged you? I'm gonna do a whole podcast about touch starvation. Like people are not hugging. They hug at funerals or like weddings. Like those are occasions or like, but hugging. Parents, if you have children, you should hug them every time they leave out of the house. Not even just your children, your husband, your baby mama, baby daddy, whoever it is. You should hug them because we never know. And I live in Wisconsin, and here they have they have there's been so many different car accidents. My little brother actually just got into a car accident a couple of weeks ago. But there has been so many car accidents where people have been wrapped around the pole. There's like ejected from the car. Like it's been a lot of them. And there's people who go out to nice events with their significant other, or they go hang out with their friends and they don't make it back home. So I just want to say, love on the people that you love. Talk to them, encourage them, uplift them, especially if they're younger than you. Encourage them to speak their mind, encourage them to speak up. I know a lot of times people be like, oh, they should stay in a child's place. But when you tell a child to be quiet or not share their feelings, you diminish their emotional intelligence. So then they become adults and they don't know how to say you hurt my feelings. They use their hands or they use other things to say you hurt my feelings and I'm gonna get you back or whatever. But we should encourage more people to talk about how they feel, what they think, what they're going through. That's why we have the Nurturing Conversations podcast. That's all I got, y'all. Just wanted to leave you with, what is the price you're willing to pay for whatever it is that you want to accomplish? What is the price you're willing to pay to be a YouTuber, a live streamer, or a makeup artist, a truck driver, a president of the United States of America? Because clearly, clearly we're changing the rules around here. Anyways, that's all I got. Thank you guys for joining me. Remember that it is important for you to use your words. That is the only way that anyone will ever know what you are feeling or what you are thinking. I will never let a live video, vlog, short, or anything that I present to you go out without me telling you to love. Love yourself. This includes your faults, your fears, your failures. Know yourself. Trust. Trust yourself. This includes the hairs that stand up in the back of your neck, the goosebumps you get in your arm, the feeling you get in the pit of your stomach, that loud or that small voice. Trust it because it will not lead you wrong. And most importantly, just be yourself. Why? Because you need you, I need you, this great big old world needs you to be authentically you. Having said that, anybody that cannot love, respect, or appreciate you for being authentically you does not deserve to be in your space. It is time for you to learn, set, and understand boundaries and stand 10 toes down on them and live. If you haven't been paying attention to the news, you most definitely should. And I don't just mean your local news. I mean national, regional, world, international. I mean, period. Pay attention. If you can't pay attention to the regular news, go on these social media platforms and type in Chevron, type in Project 2025, type in all kinds of things. President, who's running for the president of the United States of America? Type that in. Who's their running mates? Type that in. There's so many different things you should be in the know about. And having said that, make sure you get you some toiletries, non-perishable food items, water, disinfectants, have some cash money, coins, or anything that you deem valuable to the side. Get you a deep freezer. Start putting beans and canned goods and stuff up. Y'all remember what happened in 2020? A lot of things was, hey, I want you and your family to be good. If you are engaging in adult activities, make sure that you wrap it up because despite being in a global pandemic for 4 years, the STD rates are rising. That's all I got. Until next time, I love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful remainder of your Sunday. I'm going to come back and play some games on Twitch and Kick and maybe even TikTok, YouTube. I'm ending it here. That's all I got. Until next time, I love you. Peace.